A press conference, Gladys Berejiklian, Premier.
Good afternoon, everybody. When the coroner handed down his report into the Lindt siege about a fortnight ago, we said that we would respond initially in a timely way and that we would have a more detailed response later in the year. I'm pleased to say this morning Cabinet has met and the New South Wales Government will be adopting and supporting all of the 45 recommendations. Some of the recommendations obviously relate to federal government agencies or else jurisdictions outside of New South Wales, and of course we will support all of those recommendations and work with those relevant agencies. Those that relate specifically to New South Wales and New South Wales agencies, we will be accepting in full. Some of them require us to review processes, which we will be doing. Some of them advocate for other measures, which we will be accepting. I also want to say, however, that we've decided as a government there is nothing more important than public safety. So when Parliament next meets on the 21st of this month, on the Wednesday, I will be introducing legislation to the Parliament in relation to Recommendation 24, which will give our Police Commissioner the ability to use lethal force in a specific act of terror or an incident regarding an act of terror. This is a reform, a law, which is the strongest, will be the strongest in the nation, and I understand from the Commissioner potentially some of the strongest powers a Police Commissioner will have in the world. For us, there is no compromising on this issue. At all times, our responsibility is to keep the community as safe as possible, and I don't want the Police Commissioner in any doubt as to his ability to call it as he sees fit during an incident which we know is an act of terror. Also, in addition to that provision, the legislation will also include us bringing forward, as you recall, when we announced our justice reforms, we had also said that if a parolee is coming up for parole, that the State Parole Authority can reject that person's application if that person has had any connection to a terrorist activity, or if that person has since been subjected to radicalisation within the corrective services facility. So this is about ensuring that the community is safe at all times, and I would also like to remind all of you that this comes on top of stricter bail laws we brought in last year as an initial response to the siege that occurred some years ago now. So today is all about public safety number one for the New South Wales Government. I want to thank my colleagues with me today, the Cabinet, for their support and also for the ongoing discussions with the Police Commissioner. He and I spoke about the Coroner's recommendations the day they were handed down. We've been in close contact since, as have all of my colleagues. I want everybody to know that day in, day out, we are working hard behind the scenes to ensure public safety at all times, to ensure public safety is number one. And it's regrettable when you look around the world and look at Australia as to the increasing number of incidents. It is appropriate and timely that we act in this way, and we're a government that does not compromise on public safety. Public safety will always come first and will always do what is necessary to protect the community at all times. I'll now ask the Commissioner to make comment.
New South Wales Police Commissioner Mick Fuller.
The New South Wales Police Force welcomes the swift Cabinet decision in terms of Recommendation 24, which is an increase in police powers. I've spoken a lot about police use of force and the need for the police force and the government to protect our use of force, and police use that in a very measured way. But one thing was clear from the coronial inquest in terms of Recommendation 24, that is, you can line up as many people as you like, police and lawyers. There is a grey area that exists in certain circumstances, and they are circumstances around a terrorist incident like we saw at Lindt Cafe. Now, there is no training, there is no policy that I can do to make that less grey. What it needed was strong legislation, and we're seeing that rolled out today. I spoke to the Premier on the day the report was released, and we met the following Monday and talked specifically about this power. And I asked for a short amount of time to frame what would be a piece of legislation that would certainly give us powers to use lethal force, but at the same time put a framework in place that ensured the community we would use that sparingly. But from a police force perspective, we are certainly happy that the government and the community support us, and we will use this power sparingly. It's important that the framework sits with me, that I have to declare a terrorist incident first, So it's not a power that will just be there for police in everyday situations. And then from that, obviously, police in certain circumstances would use that power. We've seen many unfortunate and disturbing terrorist incidents around this nation and around the country and around the world for that in the last few months. But can I give the public an assurance that police don't have any grey area when it comes to vehicle-borne attacks, when it comes to bladed attacks on the street and or those who may use firearms. Those incidents we are trained well with active armed offender training. Our first responders are armed, unlike other counterparts around the world, and our tactical operations unit is on duty 24/7. Now, we also believe that there is an ability for us to improve our response from a long arm perspective, and we are going through a tender process now where we will equip our public order rights squad with long arms. We'll also renew the long arms that we have for specialist police in regional areas to ensure that it's not just metropolitan Sydney, but the entire New South Wales has a response to this terrible crime in terms of terrorism.